Hey, what's up, world? Welcome to Cut the Deck, hosted by the one and only. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. There's a lot to talk about, especially with this topic here. Is the Caitlin Clark hype train over? I don't think so. I think that Caitlin Clark is someone that majority players didn't want to see become the face of the W. I mean, given it's a predominantly black, and queer league, I feel like that's not what they want as the face. That's not who they want as the face. I feel like for her to be left off the Team USA is like, how the hell how the hell is Caitlin Clark left off? Is she having the best start? No. They just won against the Sparks yesterday, and obviously she was 1 from 7 from three, and they're saying, hey, so where's the jump in her game? I'm like, yo, we didn't even give it time to cook in the season. What's the rush to see her fail? They're even calling her Jeremy Lin. How in the hell do you compare Caitlin Clark, who's been one of the best women's college players in the history of the game, broke the all-time scoring record? How do you call that Jeremy Lin? All respect to Jeremy Lin. Now, obviously, he had a great run in a certain span, but you don't become the best women's college basketball player of all time and then become the number one draft pick in the NBA and have good games and a consistent showing and outings of you being an extraordinary WNBA player. And then they say, hey, well, she's Jeremy Lin. Like, what's the rush for her to get out of that chair as the face of the WNBA? Now, I will say that with her being good, there is no need to deter everybody else and try to talk down everybody else saying, well, she's the only player I know. Like, no, there's the Kelsey Mitchells. I don't even think Caitlin Clark might not even be the best player on her team. If Raven Johnson emerging, potentially there could be some conversations about who should take the reins. But as a winning player in Caitlin Clark, I'm sure she doesn't really care who takes the reins. How can she impact winning? And just focusing on the winning aspect, that will naturally bring about who's the number one or whatever. But I think that the WNBA majority players and even some former players, they don't see Caitlin as the face. They wouldn't want her to be the face. They're willing to give it to everybody else but her. And I think that the media is just doing what the media does. She was this when she was having great games. And as soon as things went left, she's regressing as a player. Now she does have to develop the mid-range shot. Could she take a better step, or could she be better on defense? Yes. And there's so many questions about what can she do to become better for her team. I think that the hype train isn't over. And what hype train? I mean, she's as good as advertised. Does she have bad games? Yes. Who doesn't have bad games and bad stretches? She has some injuries that kept her out, especially last season. So it's like, why the rush to dethrone her from what's rightfully hers? And it's not about better. A'ja Wilson is clearly a better player. When we're talking about marketable, we're talking about the face. There's the hype. And then there's the game. The production has been not as consistent as people hoped, but to say that she's not good as advertised is pure BS. Think about the marketability. Name another player more marketable in the WNBA than Caitlin Clark. You have the A'ja Wilsons, you have the Angel Reeses, but to take away that title of being the face of the WNBA and saying the hype train is down, it's just not true. I just think the WNBA isn't excited to push her anymore than maybe they feel like. I think from a peer standpoint, people don't think she should be the face. But it's not about what you want. It's about how do you maximize who's very important. If you look at the Indiana Fever's attendance, the league, the league has to do a better job of policing what's going on, because the Indiana Fever, their preseason ticket sales, they weren't what they projected because they tried to overcapitalize and they tried to exaggerate what the prices should be and tried to superinflate. And it's just like, yo, that ain't good for the fans. That ain't good for the people. So maybe they could be better there. But the hype train isn't done. I think everybody should have fed into it. And they say, yo, that's the golden goose. I read an excerpt from a hockey player, and they say, "You all hit Wayne Gretzky." Yeah, but we're not dumb enough to hurt him to mess up the money. We're not dumb enough to mess up the money. So I don't know what's the rush with everyone trying to drone her, and it's like they're waiting on her to have a moment and say, we got you. You're not as good as you thought you was. But no, I don't think there's no hype train that's over. There is no hype of Caitlin Clark. She's the real deal. She's having a stretch that's difficult right now and maybe inconsistent, and we want to see the three-point shot fall. And she's already going to be an extraordinary player in transition with Raven Johnson and Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston, etc. But I don't think the hype is done. I think that the hype train hasn't been maximized by the W. I don't think the players want her to be the face because it's not who they want. When it's like, that's not how that works. The face is determined by who's bringing in the money. Who's bringing in the money off the court and on the court. So what do you think? Is the Caitlin Clark hype train done, or this is just a rough patch of her journey to be the best player in the W? You all let me know. And also be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Cut the deck. We out.